Alright, welcome to episode 83 of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode then, we had some events and I completely forgot about all of them. I don't know. What did we do in the last episode? I remember we had that cool war in Iberia, didn't we? That was on the thumbnail. And we also divided up Persia. Those were the two things on the thumbnail. I believe we also had a war over here in Australia. Nothing down in Southeast Asia. You, green team, didn't do anything. I don't know, some stuff. I always forget what happens. We made more nukes though, so that's fun. And the Cold War intensified with more countries getting, well, no, I don't think so. Pakistan got involved though, as the Pakistani country joined the Russian alliance, becoming a member of the Square Team. So that's fun. The Russians now have 4 allies, but they're all kind of spread out. However, we do need to go over to one of the Russian allies first off, because we need to head to the great nation of Ireland. So Ireland is over here, just in, the eastern part of whatever, the British Isles, and today they're going to be invading another country, and it's of course going to be the nation of Scotland. Irish troops declare war and then make their invasion, landing over here in this city, taking it over before making another invasion, moving up this peninsula, taking this island, moving around this river with a decisive battle over there, taking this city. They push in along the river that's over here towards the capital, which is kind of in Edinburgh, I think. I always get Edinburgh and Glasgow confused, but I think it's Edinburgh. And then they push up north. There's like a weird amount of cities that are up here in the north. But the Irish move in, taking this one, which is kind of close to Fort William. And then it's like Inverness and Aberdeen is up here. So they take those two. Scotland just kind of capitulates pretty quickly. It's not a hugely powerful country, really. They didn't get a whole lot of great stuff from the peace treaty of World War II. And they didn't really set them up well. So the Irish managed to completely take down this country. Its democracy is also pretty corrupt as well. So just generally problems in this place. And in the end, it's fully annexed by the Irish, who are now kind of starting to make themselves into an empire, as they are now bordering the English, which is probably pretty scary for them. They're allied to the Russians. The Russians give them loads of stuff. So yeah, maybe you should be afraid, but they're not at the moment. So okay. Anyway, where do you want to go now? There's like quite a few events I want to do, but first off, let's go to India. India's got like some cool things. We have economic alliance in India. Still has 5 countries. These guys probably should join though, so I might just, you know what? Why not, man? You can join. I feel like it's probable. They're using your currency, so you might as well join. So there you go. The red Indian country will join the economic alliance, and there you go. Most of northern India, if not all of it, is now united under this economic alliance, with the 3 southern countries not joining. These two are kind of different because there's Spanish influence on them, but they're still like Indian at the heart. And this country is kind of like, it's basically like these guys. It's just separated by these two, and it's these two that we need to talk about, because the one on the left, this greenish colored one, is going to be invading the one on the right, the purple one, obviously. Alright, so they send their forces across. They're aiming towards the capital city because they hope to unite all these Spanish religion Indian people, which is, kind of their major goal. They've got the goal from their colonizers, so like their child, they just left them with this goal. And although they do a pretty good offensive at the start, taking one major city and getting close to the capital, they are going to be pushed back pretty quickly by the purple team as they push through, retaking their city, and then from there they start their invasion into the green country, taking 2 major cities and the third with the invasion in the north. And the green team's like, what's going on? They're gonna call HR because they're really confused, and this isn't fair. The Indian country has now pushed across to the western coast, separating off both these cities and these 2 down here in the south. They take both the northern 2 and then start their invasion downwards, taking this major city and then finally taking the capital city, fully capitulating and defeating the country before it surrenders eventually. And in a peace treaty, the country will fully annex its western brother. However, that didn't make any sense. This country is weaker than the green one, so how in the world did they manage to do that? Well, it's kind of a proxy war, because if we go across over here, we need to pick up a shape, and of course it's going to be the Circle Alliance, because the Arabic Union has secretly been funding this country in their war. They signed an agreement secretly that if the green team, because they kind of expected the green team would declare war on them. Sorry, my throat has been really destroyed today. I just recorded like a load of shorts, and then yeah, my throat got really destroyed from that. Anyway, they signed an agreement that said if the Green Team declared war on them, the Arabic Union would send them those supplies, and then if they beat the Green Country, then they would join the alliance, and that's exactly what they've done. So now, the influence war down here in India has grown even more, with the Russians in Pakistan and the Arabic Union far down in the south. But it's what it is. So that's our new India. Probably makes Sri Lanka a little bit more scared. Good for them, I guess. But not really. Anyway, let's move on up to a nation who's been very isolationist for like a while. It's Korea, because Korea is going to go expansionist again, and today they're declaring war on China. No, on one of these islands. Just one of the random island countries that exist in the world. The Koreans have their eyes set on them. So Korean forces are going to send out their navy into this sea of Japan, and eventually make a landing down here in this peninsula, taking over the major city down here in the south and pushing towards the capital. There's a major battle over there, but they managed to take the capital city. However, it's not too long before the the gold team over here sends their forces across to Sakhalin Island that was taken from them not too long ago by the Japanese, and they managed to fully wipe out the forces on this island. They will retreat to the eastern side, however the gold team will take that out, and the Emir country has now fully united Sakhalin Island under their control again, so that's nice. Meanwhile, the Koreans are continuing their invasion of this country, moving up the eastern coast, taking both. What is going on there? What's wrong with this city? Taking this city and then pushing in towards the rest of the center part of the island, taking all the cities here. This country is just not that strong, really. So that's them, I suppose. And they lose the Kuril Islands as well. I don't know why is the color all weird. I don't know. Anyway, there you go. There's the end of that war. In the peace treaty, it's basically just what they occupied. Amir takes over all of the Sakhalin Island territory, whilst the Koreans are going to take over all of the northern Japanese island territory. So they've now kind of restarted their empire, almost, which is a bit worrying for some countries, like in the rest of Japan. Like, Korea, don't retake over my country. Please don't. So yeah, what was that about, mate? Okay. What's going on with it? I'll give them a city back at some point, unless it goes wrong. It kind of has, never mind. I'll sort it out at some point. Anyway, Korea is back to doing colonial stuff again. Watch out, California. Actually, the Californians, like over here, they really, really like the Koreans, so that's kind of nice. But, they might come back. Anyway, it's now time to head down to Southeast Asia, because one country would like some Chinese support, and that's kind of interesting, because China isn't super strong. If we look at, well, they kind of are. Yeah, I'd say they are. The power rankings, we can see that number one, it's of course still the Arabic Union, is also 1941. Luckily, there's not anything bad happening in 1941. Imagine there was something bad happening in 1941. That would be pretty awful. Anyway, second is Russia. Number 3 goes to Germany. Number 4 is China. So that's the only change that's been made. They're number 4 now, thanks to the Germans. Number 5 is England. I still just got them as Britain, but oh well. Carthage is number 6. Number 7 is Blue Spain, even though they took over the Pink Country. France is 8. Norway is 9, and Indochina is number 10. So no one in America has made it into the top 10 yet, which is kind of a shame, but also not that surprising. They're all kind of new-ish. So there's them. Also, nuclear bombs. That's kind of like a good measure of how developed technologically, these guys are becoming. So let's update that. First off, we can go to the Arabic Union. So the Arabic Union is now going to increase their nuclear numbers even more, going from 9 all the way from 26 to 17 nuclear bombs. I don't know why I said 19. 17 nuclear bombs, so that's quite a lot. The Russians are not too far behind them as they move up from 5 all the way to another 12, so that's quite a lot. The Germans have a pretty new nuclear program, and they're going to move up all the way to 6, so, not too bad. They definitely got quite a few. The British got from 4 all the way to 6 as well, so hooray, you're matching the Germans. You did get a pretty big head start there, in that you were the first country to do it. And then China is currently on 1, how they will move up, just like the Germans, but one step further, going on to 7 nuclear bombs. So at the moment, there are quite a few nukes in the world. 7 in China, 7, 24, 36, 48. 48 nuclear bombs. So if you need 200 to destroy the world, and these ones are fairly small, we're like, I don't know, a 200th of the way. How many? 20th of the way there. If we say that 1,000 would probably destroy the world. So, they're making good time towards obliterating all of humanity, and that might be their intention. But yeah, these countries are now in the teens, and the next episode you can expect Germany to probably go into the teens, and these guys to maybe even make it to the 20s. China's also kind of catching up. They're still a bit behind how these guys have kind of been admitted into the Cold War, because they're like an alternative to the Arabic Union and Russia, and that's worrying. Anyway, now we need to go back to what I was doing with China before I got extremely distracted, because a certain country down here in Southeast Asia would like some Chinese support in invading a country who doesn't really like them, and it's the Red Team. So the Red Team is an interesting country. Provinces look weird. Religion, very mixed up. Their capital is over here in this area, which you can see overlays onto this European area. They were colonized by the French, and the French left them, and they became like an area with French religion as the capital. Also, there's like a few cities, but also those are in European religion areas, and there's like 3 Indian religion. They also control some other territories, like this island, which has a major city, and then this one, which is really, really split, with the western areas mostly believing in European religion, and then the east, which is where the yellow country is, and the capital's... No, it's not. No, the capital's... Where's your capital? It's probably meant to be on this island. Yeah, that's the Indian part. Both these countries hate each other because of historical and religious stuff, and the Red Team would like to get rid of the yellow country just so that things can be better in their country. Yellow country isn't perfectly blue religion. There's a few areas that are a bit split, but it's mostly Bengali religion, so that's cool. But yeah, the Red Team is going to go to China, and they're like, hey, if you can give me some cool equipment and guns so I can suppress the rebellions, I suppose, yeah, I'd be pleased. So China does that, and they invade in, taking the capital city along with this territory. However, it's not too long before we just see some other countries snap a hold of the stuff, and that's kind of annoying. They lose their capital. That's their capital. They lose that pretty fast, and then the rest of the red country is going to take over this island. They already own that one, so that's cool. And at the end of everything, they take over all the territory they occupied, with the blue Papua New Guinea country, who recently got their independence, I think. I'm confused about what's going on in this area. They managed to take over this island over here. The country over here, interestingly enough, is not pro-Chinese. They really actually hate the Chinese. There's like a few Chinese regions in this nation, whilst the majority of it is Bengali or Indian religion, so they probably don't love each other. And that's because, if we go over to the alliance layer now, we can see that the Red Team down here in Southeast Asia has just decided to join the Chinese Diamond Alliance. Am I on the right layer? Wow. Okay, there you go. The Chinese Diamond Alliance. So, there's your shape. And then you can make that yellow if we go and find another one. There you go. Nice. There's quite a few alliances all around the world, and we're also seeing them expand into new theatres. There's kind of a European theatre. China has just Germany, whilst the Arabic Union has France and Norway, and Russia's kind of in Europe, just like the Arabic Union, along with Italy and Ireland as allies. Heading over to India, there's kind of China with Tibet, the Arabic Union with Pakistan, Southern India, and Russia with Pakistan, and then China's just opened up a new thing down here in Southeast Asia with the Southern Indian country. So, yeah, loads of new cool stuff we can do with the Cold War, and loads of cool fronts if, for example, World War III was to occur. Not that it's going to, because of course the world's going to be nice and peaceful, which is why they've got 48 nuclear bombs. Anyway, I think that's probably where I'm going to end today's episode. Bit of a short one, but, the shorter ones sometimes do better, and there's lots of cool things we can do in the Cold War, so don't worry, it's fine. And I will see you again next time. Goodbye, and have a nice rest of your day.